What usually happens when someone is drowning and someone else comes along in the water? Well, usually the drowning person grabs onto that person and pushes them down so that they can catch a breath. So what if this is what's happening when people are putting other people down? What if they're trying to push the other person down just so that they could have a breath? So are put downs actually a cry for help? Okay, just to be clear, in no way am I trying to justify put downs. I absolutely hate when people belittle and are belittled, and I try in all my power to stop that. If you don't know, I work with vulnerable youth, like hurting youth. Many of them are street entrenched, drug entrenched, and most of them come from some type of brokenness or broken family. And if you ask any of the youth at work what one of my main rules is that they are not allowed to put each other down. And if they do, the consequence is they have to actually say what they like about the other person and find some positive things. When I think about put downs, I think of different types of put downs. And there's the person who comes along and just pushes everyone else down to try to get themselves up. And those are the ones who I kind of wonder if, are they actually drowning inside, that they have to like belittle someone else to make themselves feel good? And there's also the put downs where someone's putting themselves down and they just see themselves as a horrible person, and their ship is sinking and they're just taking everyone down with them, because if they're going down, might as well take everyone else down. And then there's the person who's like, they just put themselves down, but they lift everyone else up. So they're pushing themselves down by pushing others up. And none of those ways are healthy, and none of them are good. When I think about all these different types of put downs, I really believe they're all a cry for help in some way. And for the person who's putting others down, maybe they know their value, but maybe they don't feel value. Because if you were totally confident in your value and worth, you wouldn't need to try to push other people down to feel it. It's like, I think it's often a thing that people do to try to prove their worth and prove their value. And it's usually a sign that they're not feeling that way, at least in my thinking that is. And I think so often our value and worth gets connected to how we perform. It's connected to our performance. But I really believe that we were created with inherent value and worth that will never change. And sure, we make choices and circumstances happen and situations happen that may make us forget who we truly are, or maybe we haven't fully discovered who it is. And I really believe if we truly knew ourselves, we're not going to be pushing other people down, and we won't be pushing ourselves down. If there is any truth to the thought that put downs are a cry for help, I think the next question is, how can we throw someone a lifeline, or how can we hold on to a lifeline? Ultimately, I believe it all comes down to the thought that we become what we believe. So for me to tell these youth, oh, stop putting each other down, they may stop while I'm in the room, or they may stop momentarily, but it's more like they're like trimming the bush, but the bush keeps growing. But the only way I'm really gonna get them to stop is for them to change their belief. And if we look at a tree, the fruit of the tree is dependent on the state of the roots of the tree. So if the roots of the tree are diseased and sickly, the fruit will be too. And I think so often in life we believe these lies about ourselves, like these negative things about ourselves. And then it produces fruit like of insecurity, lack of confidence. Maybe it produces fruit where we have to push other people down to try to pull ourselves up. But if we changed our belief and started believing in who we truly were created to be, which is good, and we started believing, oh, wait a second, I am a good person. And so because I believe this, I'm going to start acting a different way. So if we change our beliefs, that's going to really shift things. So how can I do that? How can I do that for myself, and how can I do that for others? And I really believe words are powerful. So when I tell the youth, okay, you can't put people down, and if you do, you have to say 3 nice things about them. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create opportunities to have life blown into each of the youth. So often the youth are like, oh, I can't think of anything nice to say about that person. So then I'm like, wait a second, this is what I see in them. This is something else I see in them. And then I turn it back on them, and this is what I see in you. So it gives me the opportunity to speak life into them. And from the moment I meet these youth, I'm always looking for the glimmers of gold in them, so that when I have opportunity later on, I can like breathe life into that. And the words are just so powerful, and like just to breathe life that way. And then another way I try to throw them lifelines is I try to go out of my way to do intentional acts of kindness that are just because. Not because of any of their performance, and not because of their birthdays. Like, I do like to celebrate birthdays, but just because. I love those just because gifts, because what that shows them is that they have value and worth even regardless of their performance. And that's how the Creator sees us. He sees us with value and worth, regardless of if we're turning our back on Him or turning to Him. But I think it matters how much we're going to take hold of it with our choices too. So I was wondering, do you want to join me in grabbing onto the lifeline if you're struggling yourself to really know your value and worth, and just grabbing on to that lifeline of who you truly were created to be? And for me, the thing that helps me the most is I just talk directly to the Creator and ask Him how He created me to be. Or you also want to just join me in throwing lifeline to other people and going out of our way to just do intentional acts of kindness to show them their value just because. I really believe that if we do that and we speak life into people and we just go out of our way to just love on them, I really believe that we could cause a movement of change. And it starts with us. So I was wondering if you want to continue to walk with me in this journey. And if you want to and haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love to have you join me in this. Anyways, let's start a movement of change.